Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King 2, and today I'm going to be giving you part 25 of Naruto, the God of Shinobi. Remember to get this one to 100 like as usual, share it to all of your friends on your social media platform, and after this I'm going to be posting Uchiha Naruto, the Sage, so stay in tune. And on my main channel I'm going to be posting what if Tsunade was Naruto's mother? And what if Naruto was trained to be a mercenary? So go over there and check out that and enjoy after this. And yeah, without further ado, let's get straight into it. Start the intro. So to do a bit of a recap, the last time we left off, Naruto brought back Kushina. Also, Naruto betrayed the Leaf Village as he was not ready to execute his plan. He killed Kiba and Akamaru. And also, Obito explained who Tobi was. Tobi was a darker personality of himself. When Madara used the Shinigami to bring back Obito to life because Obito died when the rock stones fell on him. At that moment, another Obito was created and he took the name Tobi after Madara's death. And Obito wants to see Ren in the Tsukuyomi. The real Obito knows that Ren is already dead and he cannot do anything about that. So he gave up on that goal. But the darker side wants to send the world into the infinite Tsukuyomi. And we learn that Madara was the one who saved Mikato Uchiha. So yeah, and Zetsu is really working with Mikato and not Tobi. So yeah, that was basically the last part we left off. So let's start this new episode. We start this new episode at the Leaf Village. Tap. Tap tap tap. Tsunade was tapping her finger on the decks. As someone spoke, we just think that this whole thing should be avoided if you had just listened to us. And now, because you trust that boy, look what happened. Would you stop doing that? As Tsunade stopped her tapping on the decks when she saw that the three elders are looking at her. And they stopped speaking. Is that all? She asked in a bored tone. Both Homura and Koharu was very angry, but Danzo spoke up. You can't just ignore this, Tsunade, said Danzo. This is a serious matter. That boy needs to be brought back here immediately, he said. He then smiled. But of course, if you can't do that, I suggest that a new Hokage should step up and handle the matter. Tsunade just frowned. I know what needs to be done, she said. Danzo was silent for a moment, as he then nodded. I hope you do, he said. And there is one last matter I would like to talk to you about. And that is, asked Tsunade. The seven-tailed Jinchuriki, he said. I hope you see that me training her is a good option now. That boy has spent a lot of time with her. It wouldn't surprise me if they were working together. Tsunade raised her hand. Personal life have nothing to do with this. Besides, they were just friends at the most. Is that why she's still staying in the boy apartment? Said Danzo. I find it hard that people who are just friends would do that. Tsunade smiled. But, of course you would. After all, friendship and relationship are something unknown to you, said Tsunade looking at Danzo. Danzo frowned. But it still begs the point, he said before Tsunade cut him off. Nothing will be done about Fu, she said, and that is final. At least have Aibaki in Terek. Tsunade cut off Homura. I said that is final, she shouted. Now, leave my office. I want to find a way to think and deal with all of this. Danzo had an angry look on his face and didn't say anything as the other two elders got up as they all left. When they were gone, Tsunade was wondering, could Naruto and Fu be more than friends? Could the both of them be working together? As she wondered if she should let one of the Yamanaka clan go through Fu's mind. What should I do? Tsunade wondered. The window then opened. About time you get here, Tsunade said, as Jiraiya stepped in the office silently. So, It is true, he asked. Tsunade nodded. Yes, Naruto left, but this time, he made it perfectly clear that it was intentional and hostile. Jiraiya nodded sadly. I guess it is obvious, said Jiraiya, that he somehow knew about the Uzumaki clan and what happened to them. Agree, Tsunade said, as she leaned back in her chair. Jiraiya, she said quietly, I don't know what to do. There is other problems, said Jiraiya. Oh great, said Tsunade in a sarcastic tone. What is it now? It is not much, he continued, but there have been significant fights over the Land of Fire. It seems like someone is taking care of the Akatsuki. What? Said Tsunade as she looked at Jiraiya. What do you mean by someone is taking care of the Akatsuki? Jiraiya shrugged. The details are sketchy, but it seems like recently a lot of members of the Akatsuki are coming up dead. I do not know who is doing this. Do you think it's Naruto? Asked Tsunade. Jiraiya sighed. I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was. There is one thing I forgot to tell you, said Tsunade. And that is? Asked Jiraiya. Tsunade sighed. Kushina is alive. There was a silence in the room, as Jiraiya burst out in laughing. Good one, Tsunade, he said, as he was chuckling over and over, but the look on Tsunade's face made him stop. Are you serious? Do you think I would be joking about something like this? She asked. But she's dead. She died with Minato on that night, said Jiraiya. I don't know how, but she's alive. The group I sent with Naruto, they saw her with their own eyes. I wonder if it has something to do with his eyes, said Tsunade. What do you mean? Jiraiya asked. Oh, I didn't tell you. According to Guy's report, Naruto's eyes were different. They were gray, with the rings in them. What? Said Jiraiya. Are you sure about this report? He asked. Tsunade nodded. Yes, and Sakura and the others saw the same thing as well. And Naruto also has the ability to control an invisible force, to push and pull back. Jiraiya slumped down. It can't be. The Rinnegan? The Rinnegan? Tsunade said with disbelief. You mean the same eyes that the Sage of Six Paths, the god of all shinobis, possess? That's a myth. It's not, said Jiraiya. There is one student of mine that possessed those eyes. As you remember, the trio in the Rain Village. But he's dead. As right now in his mind, he thinks that Nagato, Yaiko, and Konan are dead. But how come Naruto have them? Asked Tsunade. I don't know. Jiraiya sighed. Anyway, I was on my way to deliver news to you. I finally found the Akatsuki base. What? Tsunade said as she got up. You know what this means? We can finally launch a counterattack at the organization and finish them once and for all. Really? Said Jiraiya sarcastically. Have you forgotten the old saying that knowledge is power? Then what do you want to do about it? Asked Tsunade. We need to take proper steps in taking this on. If we march in there without knowing a thing, we are doomed to fail. The best way is for me to go in there and scout. Then we will know what we are to prepare for, said Jiraiya. You're not going alone, Tsunade said. I will have a group of Anvu accompany you. No, he said as he shook his head. The Anvu will just slow me down. And also, the more people there are, the higher the chance of me being caught, Jiraiya said. No, she said. I am not backing down on this, Jiraiya said as he made his way to the window where he came in. As he thought, it's finally time for me to do something right with my life. And what about Naruto? Asked Tsunade. I don't know what to do about him anymore. You will figure it out, asked Jiraiya without turning around. I have faith in you, he said as he jumped out. Tsunade sat back down as she closed her eyes. But there was a knock on the door. Come in, Tsunade said, as she was surprised to who it was. Kazekage? Gaara nodded before bowing. Yes, there is something I really need to speak to you about, Hokage, he said, in private. Tsunade nodded. I see. Shizune, if you please. Temari, Kankuro, Gaara said quietly, as all of them walked out and closed the door. So, what do you want to discuss? Asked Tsunade. With Naruto. You know there is something that has been bugging me, said Kushina, as both her and Naruto were currently lying down on a bed. As Mikato had left an hour ago, saying that she needs some fresh air. What is that? Asked Naruto. Well, said Kushina, I don't know if I'm overthinking this or not, but I remember that Obito said that Madara did not possess the Rinnegan at the end of his life. At this, Naruto nodded and she continued. Well, what happened to it? She asked. Before Naruto could respond, someone else did. He gave it away, answered Mikato, as she walked into the room, fully clothed and sat down on one of the chairs. He gave it away? Repeated Kushina, as she was confused. To who? And why would he do that? She asked. The who part is easy, responded Mikato. It was an orphan boy. In the Rain Village, he was from the Uzumaki clan. He is now Pain and the supposed leader of the Akatsuki. Interesting, said Naruto. And here I thought I was the last one, Kushina said as she shook her head. No, a few did make it out. And they probably married and have children with other people, said Mikato as she continued on. Now, as for the why, that is something I don't really understand. Madara is very secretive, and he didn't relieve any of that. Just like Mito, thought Naruto. I am sure Black Zetsu knows, commented Kushina. Why haven't you and Obito just forced him to tell you? She asked Mito. For one, it doesn't make a difference to me. But the other reason is that bastard is immune to Genjutsu. Seriously? Asked Naruto. How? Mikato shrugged. I am suspecting that Madara made him to be that way. I even threatened to kill him, but he just shrugged it off. I even tried to seduce him one time, she admitted with a blush. Kushina laughed, and how did that go? As Mikato turned and huffed. The bastard must be gay, she said. As Kushina burst out in laughter. Before Naruto could say anything, there was a beeping sound. As Mikato took out a small disc and turned to the other two. I suggest you two get dressed. The fun is about to begin, she said. The two Uzumaki nodded as they got up and get dressed. Back at the Leaf Village. Are you sure about this? Anko nodded her head. Currently, we find Anko and Fu in an underground room provided by Anko herself. When Fu asked what was this room for, Anko just grinned with a naughty look and said, let's just say that this is a room where all the naughty boys go and never get out. That was enough for Fu to just nod and not ask about it again. So, are you ready? Anko asked, as Fu nodded as Anko placed her hand on her head, as footsteps could be heard. What are you doing? Said someone entering the room. As it was Neji, as Anko turned, we are about to take away the memories that she have of what Naruto said to her, because I know that Tsunade will bring her in to the interrogation department and we can't allow them to get the memories from her. As Neji just nodded, Fu then took a deep breath. Alright, I'm ready. As Anko placed back her hand, but suddenly Anko was blasted back as Fu started to erupt with red chakra around her. As Anko narrowed her eyes, what are you doing? Fu asked Komi, the seven-tailed beast inside of her. Protecting you, that's what, said Komi. No, I am allowing them to do this, It is necessary for Naruto plan to succeed. Koumei shook his head. Perhaps, but my way is better. And what way is that? Fu asked in disbelief. Just tell that woman that she doesn't have to do this. If anyone comes into your mind and try to find anything, I will just blast them out. Can you do that? Asked Fu. As Koumei nodded, yes. Your seal is not strong enough to prevent me from doing that. And even if it was, I think this situation you will allow me to use my power and knock them out. Fu then nodded. Thank you, she said. Don't let it go to your head, said Koumei. I am only doing this for my own benefit. Now, go. Neji and Anko sighed in relief as the red chakra disappeared. What happened? Anko asked. Fu smiled. You don't have to worry about anyone getting in my head. And why is that? The tail beast inside of me. He said that if anyone try, he will just kick them out. I see, muttered Anko. Wait, doesn't Konoha have seals to prevent a Jinchuriki from using their Biju chakra? Neji asked Anko. Well, no. Well, yes, answered Anko. Well, that was helpful, said Neji with a sweat drop. As Anko scratched the back of her head, the only one with that skill level of making that seal is Jiraiya, and it will be useless unless he take part. But if he did, would it still work? Asked Neji. I don't know, said Anko. It will prevent her from using the tail beast chakra out here, but I don't know if that will work inside of her mind also. Don't worry, it will work. They will be kicked out, said Fu with a nod, as both Neji and Anko looked at her. I was just speaking to him, and he told me that he would be able to force anyone out if they try to come into my mind. So you guys don't have to worry about anything, said Fu. A day later. So this is the rain village. It is wet, said Naruto as both Kushina and Mikato rolled their eyes at Naruto's comment, as they were currently walking through a village. Now I'm going to guess that they're sealing the Bijus in the highest tower. Am I right? Naruto asks. Now that caused Mikato to blink in surprise. Actually, yes. How exactly do you know that? She asks. Naruto shrugged. It was just a guess, based on the guidelines of every villain in the world. And that is? Asked Kushina amused. Well, to always have the biggest buildings and do all of your evil schemes in there. So, is Obito going to be joining us? Asked Naruto. He's supposed to be here now, said Mikato, with a hopeful look on her face. Maybe he's having some problem finding Sasuke. Currently, in another part of the world, a crowd surrounded Obito and another drunken man, as Obito was drunk as hell, as the man told them to begin, as Obito was doing a drinking contest. How long have he been doing this for? Asked Karin as she shook her head. Suigetsu just said a while. Your family is weird, Sasuke, as Sasuke just nodded. Back at the Rain Village, in the biggest building, the extraction was taking place. Currently, the two-tail was being sealed. Because of a seal on her, she was still unconscious. Well, Yujito. The only one present though was Tobi, pain in his Tendo body, and Black Zetsu. Konan was replacing the two new bodies that Obito had taken down. Pain opened his eyes, causing Tobi to turn to him. What is it? We have company, said Pain. So, they're here, thought Black Zetsu, as Tobi narrowed his eyes. Who is it? I don't know, Pain said. But there are three of them, but two of them as high chakra level than one of them. And it is very powerful, said Pain. Who could that be? Thought Tobi. Konan then appeared in sheets of paper. Pain, the bodies have been prepared. They are now ready for your use. I see. Good job, he said, as Konan went to take her spot, but Tobi stopped her. Konan, he said, as the woman turned at him. I have a job for you. And what is that? She asked. There are some intruders currently in the village. I would like you to go and take care of them. Currently, Naruto, Mikato, and Kushina were walking towards the tower in a normal pace as they weren't in any rush. They know that it will take a while for a single Biju to be sealed because of their low numbers, and now it was two of them, so it will take longer than usual. As Konan then formed into paper right in front of three of them, as she had angel white wings. So they do know we're here, said Naruto. You're not going through, said Konan in an emotionless voice. I don't know about that, said Mikato, as she stepped forward. You two, go ahead. I will handle her, she said to Naruto and Kushina. They nodded as they were taking off. Konan tried to stop them, but Mikato was in front of her in an instant. As she swung her sword to take off her head, as Konan disappeared in an instant in paper, Mikato smirked as she noticed few strands of blue hair on her sword. Konan reappeared a few feet away, noticing the hair as well. She's fast, thought Konan. I will have to take this seriously. That jutsu of hers is going to be a problem. That paper, said Mikato, before running through hand signs. Fire style. Hibachi, said Mikato as a ring of fire surrounded the entire area. I see, said Konan, as she noticed that she was in a disadvantage. Mikato then vanished as Konan looked up, as Mikato was already above her with her sword. Konan scowled as she barely managed to dodge again, but some of her hair was cut off. Konan could feel the heat of the fire ring as she was pushed back, but she turned into paper again, causing Mikato to scowl. Suddenly, Mikato was surrounded by dozens of Konans, as she used the Shadow Clone Jutsu in her own way. So she's not running away. That make it even better, said Mikato. Fire style, spinning flame as Mikato spin around as she burned half of the paper clones. The remaining clones then rushed at Mikato as Mikato's eyes opened slightly as she noticed paper bombs attached to them. As Mikato jumped out of the way, but she lost grip of her sword. Mikato scowled as she activated her Sharingan and noticed Konan coming at her with a paper spear. She focused her Sharingan on Konan. This caused Konan to stop and look around as Mikato smirked. Where am I? Thought Konan as she looked around. It was all dark. Wait, Genjutsu? But it was too late. When she breathed the Genjutsu and came to in the real world, she was puking out blood as Konan was on her knees, Mikato right in front of her, her sword right through her chest. This is it for you, Konan, said Mikato as she pulled out her sword, causing Konan to drop on her face. As Mikato looked at her body, what a pity, she said, as she then turned and started to walk towards the tower. Meanwhile, within the sealing room, things were quiet again, except for the sound of the sealing process. But it then ended as an explosion from above caught their attention. What is it? Said Pain as he looked up. As he saw Naruto and Kushina, they were currently at the new hole that they created. Well, hello there, said Naruto with a smile. You, said Toby. But guys, I'm going to be ending this episode right here. If you want to see the next part of this or know what to do, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification to stay posted. Remember, share to all of your friends on your social media platform. But for now, I'm out. Peace.